In this video we go deeper into finance, accounting, treasury, and fixed assets. We'll see how bank reconciliation works, U.S. tax compliance, sales tax and 1099 reporting, and how the system turns all of that into cash flow and profit margin visibility for company leadership. And at the end, we'll tell you how to get an estimate of cost, scope, and timeline for your company in minutes. Let's start with bank reconciliation. Normally, this means reviewing the bank statement line, by hand. With Business Central and Copilot, it's different. Here we have the transactions imported from a standard bank statement. The system automatically suggests matches between the bank movements and the accounting records. For example, an $800 deposit that Copilot links on its own to a paid invoice. It cuts reconciliation time and avoids manual errors. And when a payment doesn't match the invoice reference exactly, something that happens often, Copilot still identifies the customer, the amount, and the date, and flags the difference. Now let's move to something that's critical in the US, tax compliance. And here it works differently than most systems, because in the US tax lives at the federal, state, and local level. First, sales and use tax. Business Central lets you set up tax jurisdictions and rates by state and locality, so the right rate applies automatically based on where you sell and what you sell. If you operate across several states, this matters. The system calculates the correct rate per jurisdiction and generates the sales tax reports you need to file, without pulling it together by hand in a spreadsheet. Second, 1099 reporting. If you work with independent contractors or vendors, the IRS requires 1099s. In Business Central, you flag which vendors need a 1099 right on the vendor card, and from there the system tracks the payments for you. At year-end, it calculates the reportable amounts and produces the forms, 1099 NEC for contractor payments, 1099 MISC for rents, royalties, and other income, in the exact format the IRS expects. No December scramble trying to remember who qualifies. Now let's look at recording information in a way that's actually useful for analysis and decision-making. Dimensions give additional business context to your financial transactions without requiring a larger chart of accounts. Instead of creating separate accounts for every type of customer, department, project, or business unit, you can use dimensions to analyze the same data from multiple perspectives. Once the transaction is posted, we can use Business Central's analysis capabilities to review the information by dimension and quickly identify trends, spending patterns, or customer segments. This makes reporting more flexible and helps management understand the business beyond the financial statements, using information that was captured as part of the normal accounting process. Moving on to intercompany transactions, Business Central enables companies within the same organization to exchange transactions automatically. In this example, a sales invoice is created and posted in Kronos USA for an intercompany customer linked to Kronos Mix. Once posted, Business Central generates an intercompany transaction and sends it through the intercompany outbox to the destination company. The transaction is then automatically received by Kronos MX, where Business Central creates the corresponding purchase invoice based on the intercompany partner setup and account mappings. This ensures that both companies record the transaction consistently without requiring duplicate data entry, helping improve accuracy, maintain synchronized financial records, and streamline internal business processes across multiple companies. Let's move to fixed assets. Here you manage the full lifecycle of an asset, from purchase to depreciation. For example, buying a vehicle, it stays centralized and controlled. The systems calculate depreciation based on the useful life, and in the same place, you record maintenance, insurance, and the person responsible for each asset. And now we get to one of the topics that matters most to leadership: cash flow and financial planning. Business Central helps organizations understand not only where they stand today, but also where they are likely to be in the coming weeks. By combining information from receivables, payables, purchase commitments, and other financial transactions, the system provides visibility into expected cash movements and overall liquidity. Here we can see a visual representation of expected cash activity over time. The chart highlights incoming cash from customers, outgoing payments to vendors, available liquid funds, and the resulting cash flow trend. This gives finance teams a clearer picture of how future transactions may impact available cash. Instead of waiting until a problem appears, Business Central helps identify potential cash pressure in advance. Finance teams can review upcoming obligations, monitor expected collections, and make adjustments before liquidity becomes a concern. To take the analysis one step further, Business Central also provides a formal cash flow statement. This report organizes financial activity into operating, investing, and financing activities, providing a structured view of how cash is generated and used throughout the business. It helps management understand not just the ending cash balance but the factors driving that result. In addition to cash flow analysis, Business Central supports budget management and financial planning. Here we can see a budget defined by account and period. As transactions are recorded, the system compares actual results against budgeted amounts, making it easy to identify variances and monitor financial performance. With these capabilities, Business Central helps organizations move beyond recording transactions and toward proactive financial management, providing the visibility needed to plan, control, and make informed business decisions. That's what Business Central does in accounting and finance. It doesn't just centralize the numbers and handle sales tax and 1099s. It turns the daily operation into information you can decide on, cash flow, margin, variances, in real time. In the next videos we keep going module by module, so you can see in detail how each one works in a company like yours. And if you want to know what it would cost, what the scope would be, and how long it would take to implement Business Central in your company, we have an estimate that reaches you in minutes. No prior sales call, no commitment.